I'm sure we have many bosses, right? We have bosses in the office, bosses at home, the husband or the wife. But some of the boss are the children, in fact, if you realize. Okay, so who's the boss that governs this body of us? First of all, let me share with you a story. Okay, there was this very strong man who captured 6 animals. A crocodile, a bird or an eagle, monkey, jackal, a dog, and a snake. So after he had captured all these 6 animals, he tied a knot in the center. And then he released these 6 animals. So what do you think happened when he released these 6 animals? They were all ran to their own natural habitats. So the crocodile will say, oh, I'll go to the water. The eagle will say, I fly to the sky. The monkey will say, I go to the forest. Jackal will say, I'll go to the charnel ground. The dog will say, I'll go to the village. And the snake will say, I'll go to the anthill. So they all go to their respective habitats. But remember, they are all binded by the knot in the center. So they all will struggle to go to their respective habitats. Can all of them go? Naturally not, because they are tied in the center. So, the mightiest of them all, will end up going to where he wants to go because he's the strongest. So he'll pull the rest along. So that mightiest animal will become the boss of them all, isn't it? However, instead of tying a knot in the center, the man decided to tie them to a pole. And then he let go these 6 animals. Naturally, these 6 animals will want to go to their respective habitats again. But are they able to do so now? They couldn't, right? Because they are now tied to this strong pole. So they pull and pull and pull. Wow, after a while, they use up all their energy. So when they are physically exhausted, they cannot go anywhere. Because no matter how much strength they use, they cannot go to where they wanted to. So in this case, the pole became the boss because he directed all of them. This story was told by the Buddha in the Champana Sutta, or the 6 animals. So he used these 6 animals to refer to the 6 senses that we have. And the 6 habitats, the natural habitats actually are the 6 sense objects. So the eye and its eye object, ear and sound, body and touch, tongue and taste, nose and smell, as well as the mind and mental objects. So these are the 6 animals and the 6 natural habitats. So if we are not mindful, our eyes naturally will go towards those objects that we liked and repel against those objects that we find them displeasurable. The same goes for all the 6, the rest of the 5 sense and its objects. Is it true? Very true, right? Every morning, from the moment we wake up, open our eyes, you see, we are all bombarded by all these sense objects telling us, hey, I'm the best, please, you need to have me in order to be happy. They are conveying this message to us at our every waking moment. So, even, you see, take your senses out on an adventure. Wow, tell us, hey, forget about, enjoy first, indulge in the sense, the pleasure of the senses. The rest, wait and see. Every advertisement tell us that, right? So you see, every moment we are bombarded by all these objects. So that's why in the Asivisa Sutta, or the Vipers, the Buddha told us, our 6 senses is like this empty village. And then the sense objects is like those village plundering bandits, Every day, in every moment, come and whack us, bombard us, creating havoc in our life. So if we are not careful, every day we are indulging in our senses, lost track of our life. So who's the boss? The sense base that has the greatest attachment to the object. So every day we are seeing, we are hearing, we are doing something with our senses. So if we are not mindful, that sense space will become our boss in our life, because it will be always attached, always going after the desired sense object. I remember last year you have the World Cup, right? The ice is the dog, is the king, some people, they are so attached to the TV mon, right, until oblivious to whatever is going around. That ice base is the king at that moment, right? They won't know your existence, until your body block, your body stand in front of the monitor. Then you exist, that kind. So at that moment, the idol is the king. So how do we become the boss of our life? By guarding the sense door. So if we are being mindful and we guard our sense door, we will be like the pole with all the 6 animals sitting next to us, lying down, can't do anything. So if we are able to practice mindfulness in our life and practice sense restraint will be the boss of our life. Why is it so important for us to practice sense restraint? Because when we are preoccupied with liking something, we reinforce that liking, and we will strengthen it as craving or lust. That's how liking becomes craving. That's how liking becomes lust. So don't look down on that little bit of liking, because if we are not mindful, it gains strength. We add fuel to it. It will become craving and lust. And if we are preoccupied with disliking something, and we keep thinking over it, it becomes hate and aversion. They are saying it's like using a dirty cloth to wipe this white wall. The more you wipe, the heart will become more and more dark. That's what they say. That's why disliking becomes hate and aversion. And that is when Mara enter into our sense door and become the boss, guiding our life without us knowing. The danger is it happened without us knowing, That is the real danger. The Buddha mentioned in the first noble truth in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, birth is suffering, aging is suffering, sickness is suffering, death is suffering. To be union with what you dislike is suffering. To be separated from what you like is suffering. Do not get what we want is suffering. In short, the 5 aggregates of grasping is suffering. So, this do not get what we want is suffering. Where does this arise from? It arises through our 6 sense doors. Okay. Can I have a show of hand? Who doesn't like beautiful things? Wow, everybody loves beautiful things, right? Well, it is the human mind, right? An untrained human mind is like that. That's why, those advertisement, all those travel agencies put up, wow, nice scenery. And people don't mind travel 5-6 hours to see a beautiful place. You tell them travel 1 hour to listen Dharma talk. Wow, very far, sister. The place very far from my house, Then you tell them, hey, go for Dharma class. Wow, 45 minutes, sister, I don't drive, you know. You know, the very difficult, no. Well, parking also very difficult, no. That one limited parking, I don't want to go, yeah, the Dharma talk. Although the teacher is very good. But, travels 5-6 hours. Wow, go there 5 minutes. Wow, beautiful, this scenery. You know, we are all like that, right? We are all like that. So, you see, because you say, wow, this ice dog, wow, this scenery, I must go. So beautiful, you know. The Dharma talk, never mind, And next time, you know. Always, when you tell people go Dharma talk, they give you these excuses. Well, that's the nature of our mind. So when we look at beautiful things, we will think of it. Just like, ladies, you go to the shop, right? Maybe you go to this limited edition, now handbag limited edition, you go. It costs you twice of your monthly pay. So you think, expensive, never mind, consider further. So you go back, start to think, never mind, 2 months only. I will work harder, anyway, year end got bonus. Maybe, can my money, my husband will know, you know, that kind. So the more you think of it, cannot, I must go and get it. Chiong, next day, go to the shop and then get it. Then, the lady sales girl told you, sorry, miss, that's the latest piece, just 5 minutes ago, just picked up by somebody. Well, angry like mad, you know. So, angry and mad. Then after that, if you get it right, hey man, today, very happy, you know. Now, I have a lovely bag to go for the dinner, the company D&D, tomorrow, next week. Actually, do you realize why do we have this sense of happiness when we get what we want? Next time you observe, okay? You observe, when you want something, there's actually a tension in the mind. Okay, from after this talk, maybe later on you go around, you go shopping, maybe later test it out. And then, because usually when we want something in the mind, there is a tension in the mind. So this tension, we feel it uncomfortable in the mind, we feel uncomfortable, we want to get rid of it. So how does this tension, how does we remove this tension? Through the sense gratification. So once the sense is gratified, once we satisfy these senses, the tension will be gone. When the tension is released, it actually creates a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction in our mind. That's why we feel happy. Actually, there is this chain of thoughts going in our mind, but it's just that we are not aware. So we go and test it out later. We go shopping to test it out. You see, when we want something, there's a tension, and because we want to release this tension, we satisfy it. Through the satisfaction, there's this fulfillment and a sense of happiness. That's why, through craving, satisfaction of craving leads to the fulfillment through sense gratification. There is this process. But being asked, right, every day we also have craving, right? After another one. So this cycle just proceed. Because we never stop of our craving, or we never stop craving for things. So this cycle will just continues if we never stop our craving. And when our senses, when a craving is satisfied, that's when we thought we are happy. Then the next thought comes, maybe I will have the limited edition shoes to go with the bag for the D&D next week. Maybe a nice scarf will be good. Then you start to have more. You started to want to have more. One is not enough. Our craving is never satisfied at one, We are Singaporean, remember? Two is so we never stop at one. So we go on to, I want to have more. That's why some men, one wife is not enough. They must have a few girlfriends. That's why, they want to have more. And, and then they want to possess it forever. You see, some people, you see they buy new cars, right? if you see a little bit of scratch mark on their car, it's like a knife piercing their heart, wow, very pain, cannot eat, cannot, they and then they want everything sui lah, from the beginning to the end, everything. They want to possess this kind of, or be it a relation, probably also a relation. We want to possess the girlfriend, the boyfriend forever. I know of this celebrity, she wants so much to maintain her marriage, because being celebrity, right, they got to look very glamorous in the TV, on and off screen. So sometimes until they use some overboard way to maintain their relation, because being a celebrity, she got to look pretty. So how she maintained her marriage, she said, she will wake up before her husband, put on nice makeup, make sure she look as glamorous off screen, and then she will always sleep later than her husband, because after her husband has slept, right, then she will remove all her makeup and then she sleep. Torturous, right? And true enough, the marriage end in a divorce, because this is the wrong means of maintaining relationship. She wants to possess the relationship forever, the marriage forever, but in a non-skillful, unskillful way. So, because of this fear of losing and fear of changes and damages to our possession, ask yourself, are we truly happy when we possess the thing, or are we adding stress to our life? We don't know, right? We have to track our mind. So the best way, play safe renounce all your wants. Just keep your needs. Just keep the basic needs. Renounce the one. And of course, when we see those ugly and fearful things, through our past conditioning, we will tend to have this negative feeling about them. And then we want to get rid of it. So aversion has a reason. So greed and aversion is very much easily entered through our sense door, our eye door, in fact. So for those people who love, who are smoker or who love sweets, dessert, so when people offer them a cigarette or a cookie or chocolate, straight away, take it and then eat it, right? It looks spontaneous to us, right? But is it so? Actually, there's this, in Abhidhamma, we call the thought process going on. There's actually 17 thought moments that go on behind this, looking and taking, There's actually, we call that the 5 sense door thought process in Abhidhamma. Not to worry about this, this is very technical. So I just let you have a very brief summary of these. So we have the Bhavanga state. PB, VB, and AB. These three is actually the Bhavanga state. So this is in the equilibrium state. We don't have, our mind is in a peaceful state. So something called an eye. So there's this 5 sense door, this sense door averting. So the mind goes to the door, waiting to receive the object. So then we have all these eyes consciousness, receiving consciousness, investigating consciousness, and determining consciousness. So these are just the little consciousness that going on behind the eyes, going to investigate the object that we see. And then you have this determining consciousness, determining whether it's good or not so good. And this is the important state. J1 to J7, that is the Jhavana state. That is the chamber of our mind. That is where we make kusala, that means wholesome and unwholesome thought in this J1 to J7. That's the ethical part of our mind. That is a Jhavana state. Then after that, we have the R1 and R2 to register our experience, our sense experience. Okay, so before that, before the J1, the rest is all very passive. Or object come, or okay. Then J1 to J7 is the active part, where we turn our mind to think, and after the R1, R2, we register that experience, the sense experience. Okay, I'll give you an example to illustrate this. Not to worry about this, this is very technical. If you are interested, you can go sign up for Abhidhamma course. They will teach you this. So, for example, after lunch, wow, very full, very satisfied. You just walk back to your office. Your mind is in a state of equilibrium. You never think, you don't have much thoughts in your mind. Suddenly, at the corner of your eyes, you catch hold of something. Then you say, oh, seafood house, live crabs. That means there's a new store opening. Wow. Promotion some more. 20% promotion, opening sales. So, that is where, because your eyes caught hold of that signboard, it turned, you look carefully, you determine, you see that object. Then you saw this signboard. So, if you have not attended any Dharma talks, you don't know anything about Buddhism, straight away your mind probably will go. It so happen these live crabs is your favorite food . So the moment you see this, you can smell, right, and then hear. Sorry, not hear. You smell and see the crabs. So your mind will go like that. Maybe dinner, I will go there. So we are always like that, right? Lunchtime we think of dinner. Dinner we think tomorrow what to eat. Or even breakfast, already think what to eat for lunch, what to eat for dinner, right? You always think very far. So, if you have not listened to any Dharma talks, probably you say, okay lah, that's it, deal, tonight I'll come. But, you have been attending BF talks regularly, attending Dharma talks. A little bit, some few grains of dust are already removed. So you will think, although I love seafood, live crabs, but am I breaking the first precept? Live one . Then another mind probably will say, once a while, okay, right? I think maybe a lot of us think like that, right? Never mind lah. I 5 precept, 1 month I break once . Sometimes we think like that, right? Then another mind, really, good or not? Maybe I ask a brother, one brother lah. Maybe you, a brother that is good in Dharma. I ask him to come lah. I offer him dana. Then he said, and during that meal, maybe he can share with me Dharma lah. Also not bad, no. And then by giving him dana, I'm actually reducing my greed, So not bad lah. Maybe give dana. So we are very contradicting, right? We say we want to reduce greed, right? We offer people dana lah. Ask them, come, I buy you dinner. And the other hand, because it's due to the greed of the tongue, we want to eat. So very contradicting, we all. So if each color were to represent one voice, probably we have a committee living inside us, telling us, okay, do it lah. Then this another mind, no lah, don't do it lah. Then the another mind, so all these are going on and on in our mind, until finally some decision is made. I think it's very common in us, right? If you watch our mind, often we know this process is going on very often in our mind. So with a mixture of kusala or wholesome and akusala, unwholesome thoughts, until the debate is settled one way or the other. So either you end up be a patron of the shop, or you decided, no lah, I would rather keep my precept. So it's a matter of choice. And for aversion to arise through the eyes, It's very easy to see. You see, people's reaction when they see the mosquito biting their hand, first instinct, back, very fast, almost like instantaneous, right? No need second thoughts, just whack it down. I remember several years ago when I was in a retreat in this Batu Pahat. That place a lot of mosquito. So we were queuing to have our interview with the teacher. So we are queuing outside the dining hall because our interview is in dining hall. So we are queuing one by one to see the teacher. So that place a lot of mosquito also. So when I was queuing in front of my friend, suddenly I hear on my arm. So in the retreat, we take a preset, right? So when I saw this, my eyes go, huh? And my friends go, jialat, forgotten. Forgotten that, we are in a retreat, we are a preset, right? Because it so happens so fast, right? So instinct when you see mosquito on my hand, without thinking, wow, it was really jialat, no? So, and another time, it was in the SBS doing retreat a few years ago also. I was at this pavilion where not many people go, so that place also a lot of mosquito. So because I was doing open eyes meditation, so I was sitting there, cool, quiet. Suddenly, mosquito come, and I saw one mosquito. One, never mind, tahan. After that, few came. Then I said, I told my mind a bit agitated. But then another mind said, never mind in the forest it's like that tahan tahan just see Then they bring a lot of friends. Then I see, jialat cannot tahan so many. And then the mind cannot stay at peace. So quickly pack the bag, run. So you see, the aversion is so strong in us that we couldn't through this eyes door. We couldn't really unless we really keep a very peaceful state of mind. If not, we'll be easily affected. And if we move through our life on autopilot, like seeing the mosquito and whack it, we'll lose control of ourselves. It's like almost very fast, no need to think one, no. Or essentially there's thinking, but we are so unmindful that we thought we don't need to think. It becomes spontaneous reaction. That is really bad. So we look at some of the modern days hazard to let the eyes be the boss. You see, nowadays I think this is very common, right? People crossing the road also looking at their phone, smartphone, iPad or whatever. And then Singapore grapples with smartphone addiction. I think this one is really everybody. I think we all carry. I think nowadays a majority, right? Let the idol be the boss, leading our life. And this is really bad when you say, let's go for a gathering, but everybody gather with their phone. Not gather, the body is there, but the mind, is the eyes stick to the phone. Also, and then they let the children, at such a young age, letting their children be addicted to the smartphone. I think that's not a very smart way of parenting. Recently, my friend came back from Bukit. Then he told me, nowadays, a lot of parents, a lot of families bring their maid, house helper, keeper to Bukit. Then I say, not bad. They bring their maid for tour. Good. They say, no. The maid hold the iPhone and iPad for the kid to watch, and then the parents go enjoy. You see? So if we know how causes and condition actually direct our life, we shouldn't carry on this, let the children If you are doing so, we are actually letting the children or the child to let the eyes be the boss. That means we are training them from early stage, Let the eyes control your life. We are conditioning them in a very wrong way. So do watch out for that. Next, we move to the ear door. We love to live in people's mouth. What do I mean by it? When people praise us, wow, we feel very happy. But when they condemn and criticize us, our mind state straight away go to hell. That's why we say we live in people's mouth. No, our state of mind is dependent on people's words. That is because our self-identity is too strong. So if we let go of this self-identity, we really will be a much happier person in life. So when we hear those pleasurable words, we want to hear more. Yeah, greed has a reason. And when you hear those unpleasurable words, we just are very averse to them. And when sound is concerned, desire is usually due to a pre-craving that compels one or impels one to buy a concert ticket or switch on the radio. There's a subtle greed actually in it. And there are some people who are fearful of solitude and silence. So they crave for any sort of a sound rather than sit in quietness. That's why you can see some of them having the earplug in their ears 24 hours. And of course, this one our famous version, right? The aversion for sound, and then with other defilements, create a big hoo-ha in Singapore. Yeah. And okay, have you had this experience when you are meditating? Then suddenly you hear somebody close the door, very unmindfully, very loud in your retreat. How would you feel? Wow, that fellow, don't know got mindful or not. Close the door so loud, And then, whereas if you are doing, if you are daydreaming, and then somebody close the door, pang, very loud, wow, good man, it bring you back to your present moment. So you see, same type of object has different feelings, create different feelings in our mind. Why? Because we are judgmental. We judge the sound. Imagine if somebody who were to scold you in a language that you don't understand and with a smiley face. Probably you won't be averse to him, right? Because we don't understand what he's talking about. What? And then he smile, he speak to you in a friend, maybe his mouth, his face is a gentle face, so you thought, oh, this fellow is not scolding me. He's just talking to me. You don't judge the words. That's why you don't feel angry. So how should we view the words? We should view them as objects that the mind is aware of and be aware of the associated feeling. So but if somebody were to say nasty words to you, you just feel it as aware of the feeling that arises through the words. And then you know that because of that sound, there's feeling going on. So you watch it like a third party. The words comes to you. You watch it like a third party. Wow, my mind is agitated. So you watch it. So as you become more and more aware of your reaction, they become less and less. And then things stop having identity. Because when you are aware of it, it becomes impersonal. The words become impersonal, so you won't take it personally. And then the feeling is less strong. So you keep watching, sooner or later, because you have no more thoughts. You just view it as sound. There will be no more thoughts, therefore, your negativity is also gone. And another thing I want to talk about is gossip. during my class, I talk about gossip. I say, well, women like to gossip a lot. Then this sister, teacher, I think you're wrong, Not only girls, women like to gossip, guys also love to gossip. So now I change. We human love to gossip. So, you see, I think part of our life, but we have to be aware of the danger. Why? If you watch your mind, okay, next time if you want to gossip, you step back and watch the mind that is going to gossip, or in the midst of gossiping. We always feel superior to the person discussed. If you watch it, because we gossip, we talk bad, this person, what. That means we have this sense of superiority over that person. And when we are doing that, we are actually reinforcing this factor called conceit, or in Pali, mana. Mana means we are always comparing ourselves with others. And we have 10 factors, right? This mana or conceit is the number 9 factor. Even in Anagami, a non-returner, the third stage of sainthood, couldn't get rid of it, That shows how powerful this factor is. It is only eradicated by an arahant. So imagine, this is already such a difficult factor for us to remove. Yet now in our daily life, we are adding fuel to it. So how to get enlightened? Therefore, next time, if somebody were to gossip with you, you try to change the subject. Or sometimes very difficult to change. The person talk. So, you just listen, words come in, then go out. You just refrain from adding more words. Refrain from adding more comments. That is very important in our spiritual practice. And our nose door. Factors entering through our nose door is very, very subtle. In fact, for example, you see all the perfume, they're actually targeting our greed. We love that smell, and then we want to smell like that. So that is actually targeting our greed. And then when we, sometimes when we pass by some rubbish, then straight away we stop our breath, and then sometimes our thoughts will go like that. Alamak, who is this fellow man? Anyhow throw the things here, make the place so smelly. Sometimes these are the defilements that enter through our nose door. And I remember a few years ago, I was at this Malaysia Chinese temple having meditation. So the kitchen, actually there's no kitchen. Outside the meditation hall, everywhere is a kitchen. So around 5+, we have to wake up. Our sitting is at 4:30. By 5+, the kitchen helper will king kong kong outside. And then also for the lunch, 10+, they will start to make a lot of noise outside. And because the cooking area is just outside the meditation hall, every day without fail, aroma come in. Up to certain time you will know. Okay, what is that smell? You start to churn, the greed will come. Food, no? A bit hungry already, Although you don't really feel hungry, but the smell will make you hungry, right? We are always like that. So, very subtly, all these, the nose door, all these will create a lot of greed in us also. Next, do you often comment about the food you eat? I have friends, the moment they put food in their mouth, string of comment come out. Oh, okay. So are you one of them? There's a defilement. So, okay, next time you want to comment, think first. So we always, when nice food, right? We'll eat and eat. After we have food, we still eat. Sometimes, I find it very funny, some people say, very full, I cannot eat. There are some leftovers on the table. You say, cannot. too full, cannot eat. Then after that, shall we order dessert? They will ask. Funny, I thought full already. There's so much food on the table, they still cannot eat, but still can eat dessert. No. So if we eat a lot, and then sloth, we actually induce the factor of sloth and torpor. And make us very sleepy, right? Imagine, I think those that go retreat, you know, eat too much, afternoon become yes man, because you go like that. Everything, sit through the whole afternoon, all wasted, become yes man and all wasted. So the Buddha said, one who is hard to instruct is he who, having filled his belly full, thinks only of the ease and comfort of his bed. Lazy. It will actually induce a lot of laziness, because you eat too full, your body feels very heavy. How to sit? Walk also difficult. Don't talk about sit. And for people who find food unpleasurable, they will usually criticize and criticize and criticize. So I have words for them. This is one of my favorite Chinese some wordings. It said, 知福, 惜福, 造福. So know that we are blessed. We should cherish our blessing and cultivate more blessing. So don't look down on that plate of food, you know. The fact that we have food readily, easily accessible to us shows that we are indeed very blessed. And if we can eat the food with a very appreciative heart, we are actually cherishing our blessing. Don't talk about whether it's good or bad. Food is to sustain our body in this spiritual path. Food is not used to, satisfy our sense, our taste, our tongue. And if we eat with great gratitude, do you know we are also cultivating, we are also promoting blessing, we are cultivating more blessings in the future, because gratitude is a very wholesome state of mind. So when you plant good seeds in your mind, imagine you are planting, you are promoting, you are cultivating more merits in the future. So don't look down on your simple lunch or your simple meal. No, it actually has a lot of dharma inside. So every time before you eat, when you eat, or before you want to complain, think of all these people. Always be gratitude to whoever has prepared the food, and think of those people who couldn't even feed themselves. So what, you have good food in front of them, they couldn't feed themselves. So always, they say that gratitude is the best attitude. So don't look down on your little plate of food. And for body, since young, we have been conditioned, nice, puffy toys, so nice to touch. Until some of them, to the extent, right, when they grow up, right, this is the reality. They go, the greed, bring the greed to the, for the greed of touch, bring to the extreme. You see, these are the extreme things. I want to share on this down, because recently in my India pilgrimage, there's this sister who wore this down jacket. And because it's so comfortable, so lightweight, so another brother, wow, very good, your down jacket. So then they're saying that, wow, so she give a lot of praise to the down jacket. Then the brother, I think, wow, buy her, then the brother commented that, oh, okay, when he come back to Singapore, probably he also get one, because it seems so good. So I overheard. So I share with them this. Down is actually the feather that is nearest to the geese body. So how they make those down jackets, down pillow and quilt and whatever, they pluck them one by one. They pluck from the geese body alive, one by one, to make into the down jacket, down pillow, very comfortable. But at the when you're feeling comfortable, you are actually through the painful experience of these animals. So maybe we don't need to look at we don't need to buy down jacket. We can look for alternatives, or maybe wear more layer, chubby also cute. You yeah, rather than at the expense of the other animals. Imagine yourself, you pull your hair one by one out. You think what is the experience like? I think you won't love it. In fact, that is what during the Buddha's time, these ascetics who practice extreme self-mortification, that's what they do. They pluck their hair. That's part of their extreme practice. They pluck their hair. Instead of shaving their hair, they pluck their hair one by one. So I don't think that is a good experience for us. So probably we can look for alternative instead of for our own comfort. And finding the mind door is the most difficult to guard. It's the most important, yet the most difficult to guard. Some people told me, hey sister, I can't meditate because my mind is like a monkey mind, always running around. So I told them, precisely because we have a monkey mind, that's why we meditate. If your mind is naturally peaceful, then I will say, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. You're there. So the mind door thought process is slightly shorter than the 5 sense door because, again, we have this bhavanga state, the equilibrium state. Then you have this, when the thought arises, we have the mind door averting. Then again, we have the jhavana, how we want to react to our the thoughts. And then finally, R1, R2, we register the experience, this sense experience. So what should we do? We should watch the mind all the time and understand how it works. And if we are like an observer watching the show, that means it's like a mind watching over the mind. A third party watching the mind. You see how the mind works. So you realize if you watch your mind most of the time, you realize that mind always brings you to the past and present, right? And then it creates stories and pulls you in. So if you're not mindful, you will go into the story and then the whole day long you will daydream. So you don't look at the story, you look at the function of the mind. Maybe I share with you, during March, we was away in SBS for retreat. So we came back on the 28th night, March. So the next day is our founding father, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew's funeral. So we came back around 28 midnight. So I was in the taxi. Because we just came out from retreat, the mind is very quiet and silent. But of course, we know he's passing during our retreat. So every night we share merits with him. So on that night, 28th night, we were back in Singapore. So when I was alone in the taxi, so the car, the taxi traveled along the road. Then I saw barricades for preparation for the next day. And then, passed by the open field, then with all the high-rise flag, very nice. And then I saw the barricades. Oh, I know it's for the funeral the next day. And then the radio was the taxi driver on this Chinese channel. And then there's this very soothing voice, the DJ. He talked about Li Guangyao 回忆录. So telling the stories of Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, and then with this kind of music, his voice. And then the car was traveling through this, and then you see Singapore. So I saw that tears start to gather in my eyes. I feel a surge in the emotion. And I know my tears is coming down. Then, but this, because, just fresh from retreat, the observing mind is still very good, still working hard. So the observing mind saw this. Because of all the objects entering through my eye door, sense door, mind door, everything all come, So the watching mind saw this, and the watching mind realized it. Straight away, I snap out of it. The tears, there's no more tears, no more sorrow, nothing. So it went back to a very peaceful state of mind. And I was able to continue the journey with a very equanimous mind. So you see, so I saw that the sorrow, lamentation comes from through all the sense door coming to attack me. So if we are able to observe our mind every single moment like that, we are able to get out of our sorrowful state of mind. But of course, that after retreat, very on the mind working mind. Now still trying hard to get back that momentum too. So if we watch our mind often, we realize that of the presence of a defilement, we have two choices. Either we please it or we get rid of it. But that is if we have watched our mind. If we never watch our mind, how we know kilesa, how we know defilements have come in, we won't know. So it's very important for us to keep watching the mind. And also there are people who has this misconception that, the sense gratification, our senses is for us to indulge in the sense gratification. But is it true? Do we want to indulge in it every moment of our life? Of course, in Buddhism, being lay people, we are not expected to follow the 227 Vinaya rules. We still can, sometimes at times enjoy a bit of sense pleasure. But we do it within the framework of morality. So what is the role of guarding the sense door in this spiritual path? In the Ganaka Moggallana Sutta, the Buddha actually talked about the gradual training. If you have seen this, guarding the sense door actually is way up in the hierarchy, it's number 2. After we keep our 5 precepts, we have to guard the sense door. It's not some very cheap, deep level of, it's something is so important and so fundamental that is at number 2. So if you want to progress in our path, guarding the sense door is a must. It's important before you actually go through this gradual training. So I'm glad to share with you this, what is in the sutta, Samanyapala Sutta. Of course, this verse you can see in many other suttas. Here, a monk on seeing a visible object with the eye does not grasp as its major signs or secondary characteristics, because greed and sorrow, evil, unskillful states will overwhelm him if he dwelt leaving his eyes faculty unguarded. So he practices guarding it. He protects the eyes faculty, develops restraints of the eyes faculty. Of course, this one you repeat for all the other senses. So what it means is to say, if we see, okay, by the way, you don't know what's the difference between seeing and looking? You just see, but you look with intention. You see is just general. So if we just overview, we see things overview, we won't have that kind of attachment to it. But if you look, that's where craving come in. And you look some more, look at the details, maybe chocolate, this layer got chocolate, that layer tiramisu, this layer, and so you look more, the cling is more. Why is that so? Because when we look at it clearly, we will start to judge. And we judge there's good or bad, we compare. After we compare, we will find, this appealing, this is not. And then we have desire and aversion. And that's where the karma sets in. So if we are just purely aware of it, there is no judgment, then there's no karma. It's just pure awareness. So finally, I'd like to share with you this story. So there's this tortoise, Kumopama Sutta, the parable of the tortoise. He was foraging at these the river banks, looking for food. So he saw the jackal from far. Lama, he will become the food of the jackal, man. So he quickly hide his limbs and head in his shell. And the jackal from far saw this tortoise. So he said, "Wow, food for the day." So he ran to the beside the tortoise, and then he waited. If this tortoise were to stretch out his limb or his head, I will grab it and eat it. But the tortoise is very smart. He keep very silently, did not move at all, And then this jackal had no chance. He waited and waited and waited. wow, hungry man, this tortoise, wow, stubborn. There's no chance for me to grab it. So I'll just leave. The tortoise, so the jackal leave and go and search for the other food. So in the same way, the Buddha told us, we should be like the tortoise, keeping our sense store, keeping a restraint on our sense store. If not, Mara is always looking for opportunities to enter us through our sense store, if we are not mindful. Okay, so I hope with this sharing today, we can all practice sense restraint to a better level. Thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, let's have a Q&A. Any comment, any feedback, or want to share something? Please do so. No question? Sure? Are you sure? Okay.
Morning, sister. Regarding about the craving, like I said about the perfume, because we like the smell, so we put a perfume. Like for my case, sometimes I wear a shirt once, can't wear a shirt again. I don't use perfume almost all the time. But because I'm afraid that maybe this shirt has a bit of smell, but I still want to use it, so I'll spray a bit of a cologne to mask in case there's a perspiration aroma or smell. So would that consider a bad thing?
I think that is fine.
It's not a craving, right?
Do you purposely want to, crave?
No.
Yeah. So I think that is fine. I think that is fine. But if I would talk about deeper level, it's because of the self. Because you are worried about what people think of me if I smell like that, that kind. So in the deeper level, it's the self-identity that you are thinking about. So, but I think it's okay we take a step at a time. We take a step. Self-identity, after all, is difficult. We have to go through many. You got to see how to get rid of the self. You have to really understand the mind, how it works. And you got to see causes and conditions. Then you really see the non-self. So I think step by step, at this level, is fine. To me, it's fine, no problem. Yeah.
Okay. Any other question? Feedback maybe? Comment? Sharing? You can share as well. Okay.
Hello. Hi, good morning. I've got a problem regarding the eye sense. So, for example, I'm particularly more towards the visual kind of person. So how do you stop the craving for coming in through the eyes? How do you stop it when it's happening and so on?
Okay, so for eyes, probably you see an overview. You see an overview. Instead of looking at what the Samannapala Sutta said, you don't grasp at the details or the secondary or the characteristics, but you just see it as an overview. Like for example, you pass by a cake shop. Let's use this example. So, this is a cake shop you just passed by. But then, if you look into the cake shop, into the cakes individually, this got layer tiramisu, this one walnuts, this one cheesecake, that will arise the craving. Because when you grasp at all the secondary details, all these details, that is when craving arises. So there's a difference between seeing and looking. You just see overview. But if you look at it with intention, that is where craving arises. So probably you have to, because I'm not sure what type of craving are you referring to. For this kind of general stuff, you just look at it with an overview. rather than looking at the specifics. Then that will reduce very much the craving in us.
I think the problem is that the looking sets in without you even knowing. You know, it's like it comes so fast, and before you know it, you're really like wanting something. So how do you like, you know, arrest it? And
Okay, that is because the mind is not trained. The mind is not trained to do the seeing, because it needs training from, like what you say, it happens so fast before you know it. Because it happens to us. It happens so fast because we are not trained to do so. But if we are trained to do so, the awareness can catch momentum. You see, the fact is we say we practice mindfulness, we practice awareness, but ours is delayed awareness. That means we see already, we aware, we seeing it, you know. It's a delayed awareness. But if you are able to practice to a stage where the awareness gains momentum, it moves as fast as the mind, that is the time where you really can distinguish the seeing and the factor that comes in, the craving that comes in. You understand what I mean?
so you're saying you can only do that through meditation?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
That is true. That is true. You have to watch your mind all the time in order to do that. So we have to practice until our awareness gains momentum. Then it moves as fast as the mind. Then that is the time where you can see this craving coming in after your seeing. You're seeing, then you're looking, and then the craving comes in. So we have to keep on practicing. It's difficult because our awareness has not gained momentum yet. But once awareness gains momentum, it moves as fast as the mind, then no problem. This will be settled. So we have to practice hard on our meditation.
Okay. Any question? One more question maybe? Okay.
I just like to comment, the young man here is asking, how do you control yourself? So one way is, I think you cannot avoid seeing it. Your eyes are open. So you will say, if you see a beautiful girl, register, yes, a beautiful girl, and then let it pass. You cannot fool yourself by saying you did not see anything. Register it. Don't think about it like you say, have an overview, and then it's pass. That's how you are controlling being mindful. You see something nice, you like it, but you say, shouldn't buy it. Register it and let it pass. It's like letting go. I don't know whether I'm right or not, but this is how I look at it.
Yeah, of course, brother is very right. On initial level, beginning stage, we have to do that because we have, that means like what Bhante Agachita shared in his Dharma talk. You know, when they monks go for alms, some female with low cut come and offer to them. So what they do, there's female offering food to them, that's it. You don't go and look at, this figure, this body shape, then that is where lust will come in. So you just look at an overview. Because sense restraint is actually very elementary, very high up in hierarchy. That's why sooner, you see, in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, it says, because sense restraint is the higher level, in the upper level, elementary level. If you practice long in deeper, Mahasatipatthana Sutta says, if you watch the factor that arises and the affliction, and then you see how suffering comes about, you will let go of the attachment. So of course that is a different level of practice, but we take one step at a time, like what brother say, just or know that there's a pretty girl, then that's it.
Okay, all right. Maybe I have one question. How about let's see object. We want or we need. How to differentiate? We want that we want the object or we need the object. So how in the Dhamma? In the Dhamma.
Actually, the best question is, the answer is in your heart. Whether you need it or you want it, we all know the answer. Frankly, we all know the answer. The answer is right in our heart. You just have to ask yourself, we need it or we want it. Read your heart will tell you.
Right. That's what I mean. So thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
For the experiencing, inspire the, talk. Let's we say the 3 sadhu to Sister Ang Lai Hoon. Sadhu, sadhu.